Verse 9. After that he departed to the upper lands of Shem, where he also overthrew and delivered many cities and kingdoms, establishing the Zarathustrian law. For 2 whole years he labored in Shem, and so great was the power of Almaz, the Creator, upon Zarathustra, that all the cities and kingdoms of Shem threw off the bondage of the sun kingdom of Persia. Verse 10. After that Zarathustra traveled toward Ham, which was called Arabinia. But in those countries Zarathustra had not so great success, because the people were not learned in books, nor in the stars, nor tablets. Nevertheless Zarathustra delivered many cities. Verse 11. So God said to Zarathustra, Go back now to thy own country, and thou shalt overthrow yet 7 cities and 7 great kingdoms, and after that thou shalt return to Os, and it shall fall before thy hand, that the prophecy of thy childhood be fulfilled. Verse 12. So Zarathustra returned to Persia, and went to the 7 great cities and kingdoms, and overthrew them, and many of them were destroyed utterly by fire and by war. But Zarathustra delivered the faithful, and established the Zarathustrian law with all of them. Verse 13. And now he returned to his native city Os, according to the commandment of God. Book of God's Word, chapter 27, 1 through 14. Now here's where Judas, the betrayer, comes in at. Verse 1. In those days Punya was king of Os, and by title king of the sun, king of the middle of the earth, king of kings, mightiest of mortals, owner of all human flesh, ruler of the earth, and master of life and death. Verse 2. For nearly 4 years had Zarathustra been absent, and the effects of his preaching in foreign lands had been to cut off the paying of tribute to the city of the sun, for which reason Punya, king of Os, had sworn an oath under his thigh to pursue Zarathustra and have him slain. Verse 6. After Zarathustra had completed his travel, he returned to the forest of goats in the first place to meet his followers, and to rejoice with them for the great light God had bestowed upon them. So when Zarathustra returned to them, there was great rejoicing, and there were present Zarathustra's mother, and many of the Lycians, or shepherd kings, who knew him in his childhood. Verse 7. After many days of rest and rejoicing, God came to Zarathustra, saying, Behold, the time hath now come to go against the city of thy birth. Take Asha with thee, and I will cause Os to fall before thy hand. Verse 8. Accordingly Zarathustra took Asha and returned, as stated, to the gates of Os, for he was known at once. And when he demanded admittance, he was refused, because the king had previously decreed his banishment and death, there being an officer of reward to whoever would destroy him and bring his skull to the king. Verse 9. The keeper of the gate, whose name was Judas, or Judas, thought to obtain the reward, and it hit upon the following plan, saying to Zarathustra, I know thee, thou art Zarathustra, who are banished under penalty of death. I have no right to admit thee within the city, nor have I desired to witness thy sure death. But if thou wouldst secret thyself till the change of watch, when I am absent on the king's reports, thou may take thy own risk. But if I admit thee, I will also be put to death. Verse 10. Zarathustra said, As for myself, I fear not, but I would not have thee put to death on my account. Where then can I secret myself till the change of watch? Verse 11. Judas, the keeper of gates, said, Within the chamber of the wall, go thou and thy friend with thee. Verse 12. So Zarathustra went into the chamber of the wall, and Asha went with him. And now when they were concealed, Judas called his wife, and said unto her, Be thou here, walking back and forth, that they who are concealed will think it is I. Verse 12. So Zarathustra went into the chamber of the wall, and Asha went with him. And now, when they were concealed, Judas called his wife, and said unto her, Be thou here, walk back and forth, that they who are concealed will think it is I. And I will run quickly to the guards, and they shall come inside Zarathustra, for whom the reward is offered. Verse 13. And the keeper's wife came and walked back and forth, and the keeper ran quickly and brought the guards 1,000 men with spears and swords, and war clubs, and slings and bows and arrows. And they surrounded the place of the chamber on all sides. And then spoke Judas, ironically saying, "Come forth, Zarathustra, now is the change of watch." Verse 14. And Zarathustra and Asha came forth, and behold, what was done. Zarathustra said to Asha, "The light is upon me, go thou with me, no harm shall come to thee. But now is the time come in which I shall fulfill what hath been prophesied of me in my youth." Book of God's Word, chapter 28, verses 1 through 13. This is the trial of Zarathustra. So Zarathustra suffered himself to fall into the power of the Sun King, and the soldiers caused him and Asha to march in their midst to the place of the skulls. And there came thousands and tens of thousands of people forth to witness the proceeding. For at this time there were many who were in sympathy with Zarathustra, as well as many against him. Verse 2. In order to stay the multitude, the captain of the army called out many soldiers in addition to those who made the arrest. Others ran to the king's palace carrying the news of his arrest and the place he had been taken to. Verse 3. The king said to the herald, "Though this man shall die, it is fit that the proper judgment be rendered against him, as an example before all men. Go therefore to the executioners, and command them to bring Zarathustra into my presence, and judge him to death according to the law." Verse 4. This was accomplished. Zarathustra was brought before the king, who accosted him, saying, verse 5, "By thy behavior thou art accused before the king, and I adjudge thee to death. But that thou mayst be as an example before the world, I will render my judgment before the herald, who shall proclaim my words unto all who desire to witness thy death." Verse 6. First, then thou were ordered for arrest by my predecessors, and thou deliverest not thyself up to my soldiers, neither could they find thee, for which thou art adjudged to death. Verse 7. Second, without permission from the king of the sun, thou hast traveled in foreign lands, sowing seed of diselegance against the central kingdom, for which reason thou art adjudged to death. Verse 8. Third, the king of kings offered a ransom for thy head, and the king's soldiers were disappointed in finding thee, for which reason thou art adjudged to death. Verse 9. Fourth, in thy youth thou hast threatened to overthrow the city of Os, the city of the sun. Thou failest to make thy word good, thereby being a teacher of lies, for which reason thou art adjudged to death. Verse 10. Fifth, thou hast cut off the foreign tribute to the rightful owner of the whole world, for which reason thou art adjudged to death. Verse 11. Sixth, thou hast revised the doctrines of the dark ages, teaching of spirits and gods, which things cannot exist, because they are contrary to nature, and contrary to the laws of the king of the world, for which reason thou art adjudged to death. Verse 12. Seventh, thou hast taught that there is an unseen creator greater than the king, which is contrary to reason, for which reason thou art adjudged to death. Verse 13. 8. Thou returned to Os not openly, but as a thief, and hid thyself in a chamber of the wall, for which reason thou art adjudged to death, in the manner of thieves, which is the most ignoble of deaths. Book of God's Word, chapter 28, 14 through 17. Zarathustra is executed in the lion's den. Verse 14. Therefore I command the executioners to take thee to the den of thieves, and cast thee therein. And on the morrow at high noon thou shalt be hung up by the feet along with the thieves, where thou shalt be left hanging till thou art dead. Verse 15. That my judgment may appease thy best friends, what sayest thou against my decree? Verse 16. Zarathustra said, All the charges thou hast made against me are true this day, but tomorrow, setting sun, I will have disproved some of them. Today thy kingdom is large. In 2 days I will be dead, and thou wilt be dead, and this great city will be destroyed. Yea, the temple of the sun will be rent in twine, and fall as a heap of rubbish. Verse 17. The king laughed in diversion, and then spoke to Asha, saying, Thou art an old fool, go thy way. So Asha was liberated, and Zarathustra was taken to the den of thieves and cast therein. And the den of thieves was surrounded by the dens of lions that belonged to the king's garden. And the bridge passed over, and when the prisoners were within, the bridge was withdrawn, and no prisoners could escape, but would fall a prey to the lions, which were fed on the flesh of persons executed according to the law. Book of God's Word, chapter 29, verse 1